When the patient is able to perform alternate leg stretching and the lifting of the heel on the specific mark on the floor, then move towards the more complex exercises. This exercise will make the patient to move from sitting to the standing and then going back to the sitting position. In this diagram, in this picture, you can see that the patient is in the sitting position in front of the parallel bars. The purpose of parallel bar is to provide this support. Completely explain the treatment to the patient and demonstrate how he can perform this exercise. The first command is about the feet, the second command is about the trunk. Ask the patient to draw the feet back under the chair and then incline the trunk in the forward direction. By the inclination of the trunk, the center of gravity will be over the base and it will be a more balanced and the stabilized position. After that, ask the patient to move the legs. How he can move the legs? Ask the patient to extend the knee and the hip. With the extension of hip and knee, he will be able to stand by holding those bars. So in this way, he will be able to stand, then reverse this procedure. Ask the patient to again flex the hip and knee, going back to the chair, sit on the chair, and then move back to the trunk. So in this way, he will be able to move from sitting to the standing position and standing to the sitting position with the help of some kind of support. But make it sure the feet must be visible to the patient and the support must be proper. When he is able to perform the sitting exercises, then move towards the walking exercises, because the walk training is very important. If a person is not able to walk, he will not be able to perform all the aerials independently. Walk training can be started with the sideways walking and then move towards the forward walking. For the sideways walking, the patient must be in the stride standing with the proper base. Ask the patient to transfer the weight from one foot to the second foot in these sideways manners. You can use any marker, you can use any chalk, or you can use a paper. Draw two lines on the floor and add some marks. Ask the patient to look on these marks and place his feet on the marks. So ask the patient to transfer the weight from one foot to the second foot in the sideways direction. So in the sideways, he will transfer the feet in this direction. But make it sure there is a proper support, because if there is no support, there will be chances of the patient fall, and this support can be provided with the help of some kind of the parallel bars, or the therapist can also hold the patient hand for providing the supports. So when the patient is able to transfer the weight from side to side, then you can reduce the range of the footsteps, because the wide ranges are easier for the patient and the small ranges are difficult, but it totally depends on the patient capacity. When the patient is able to perform sideways walking, then move towards the forward walking. Again, you have to add some marks or the points on the floor. You can make the two parallels line for the feet, or you can draw the feet on the floor. So in this way, the patient must be in the forward walking position. Ask the patient to transfer the weight on the foot in the forward direction. So he will transfer the weight on the right foot, then on the left foot, on the right foot, and then on the left foot. So in this way, he will be able to transfer the foot in the forward direction. For support, you can provide any kind of the frame, the rollator frame or the reciprocal frame, or the therapist can also provide support in front of the patient. But make it sure the feet must be able, a patient must be able to see his feet. So when the patient is able to perform these exercises, you can reduce the size of the stance, and you can make it more complex for the patient. This one is specifically for the turning around, because whenever we are moving in our homes, we have to avoid some obstacles. So you have to taught the patient how he can turn his position from the forward walking or from the sideways walking, so he can avoid the obstacles. For this, you have to use 8 marks on the floors: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8. These marks must be in the circular manners. Start from the mark 1 and 2. Ask the patient to move towards the 3 and 4. What will happen? He will move towards 3 and 4. He will be able to turn his position in the right direction. in the right side, and then ask again the patient to move towards the 5 and 6. In this way he will be able to take one more turn in the second in the right direction, and then 8 and 7, then again he will be able to move his body into the next direction. Or you can also ask the patient to move in the 3 and 4 direction in the right turn, or you can also ask the patient to move at the 7 8. So in this way you can taught both right side turn and the left side turn. With the help of this exercise, he will be able to avoid the obstacles during the daily life or whenever he's performing his activities. So this is the difficult one, and the patient need attention during this exercise, and it is also a very time taking exercise. In this diagram, you can see that the patient is in the sitting position on the stool, on a chair, and the therapist is asking the patient to put his feet on the mark 1. So, simple arc, there are 3 marks 1, 2, 3. Start with the basic marking 1, 2, 3. Ask the patient to stretch his leg onto the point mark 1, then go to the mark 2, then go to the mark 3. And you can make it difficult by changing the sequence. Go to the mark 3, go to the mark 3, go to the mark 1, go to the mark 2. So when the patient is able to perform these simple leg stretching exercises, you can add more marks. You can add 9. In this diagram you can see there are the 9 marks, 1 to 9. So ask the patient to move his feet between these 9 marks as per your command. So in this way he will be able to develop voluntary control of the lower limb. And by the help of this exercise, he will be able to turn around and how he can avoid the obstacles during the ADLs. When he's independent and when he's confident in the leg movement, in the lying, in the sitting, and in the walking, the next thing is the arm exercises. Arm exercises are very important because whatever we are doing in our daily life, we are performing every activity with the help of the hand. We are eating with the help of hand, we are brushing our hair with the help of hand, we are changing our clothes with the help of hand. If you are using mobile phone, everything is because of the hands and the limb movement. So you have to work on the arm exercises. Start with the basic patterns of the shoulder region: flexion, extension, adduction, abduction, internal rotation, and external rotation. Start with the simple pattern. You can dictate the patient with your hand, or you can also add some mark on the wall. Then go for the elbow movement. Go for the elbow flexion and elbow extension, and then with the wrist movements. So when patient is able to perform these movements, then move towards the more precise. How you can add the precision? You can add the precision by adding the specific exercise. Ask the patient to stand in front of the wall, put 2 marks. The one is at the down and the one is on the up. So 2 marks. Ask the patient to touch the first mark and then go towards the other mark. So in this way he will be able to make the pattern of the flexion extension. And if you want to work on the abduction and adduction, ask the patient to stand in the sideways and move your hand from this direction to this direction. So in this way he will be able to learn the adduction and abduction patterns. When he's able to perform the independent shoulder and the elbow movements, then move towards the more specific exercises. The first one is arm stretching to thread it through a small hoop or a ring. This will make the patient to grasp something, to hold something. Suppose he is going to brush his hair. Yeah. So the most important thing is the grasping of the brush. So but with the help of these exercises, he will be able to hold or grasp the things that he required for the daily activities. So ask the patient to stretch his arm and move towards the small ring. So it is a more precise. When you are using a big ring, he'll be able to pass. When you are using a small ring, the more attention, more precision is required. So with the help of these exercises, you will be able to grasp all the things from the table, from the chair, from the dressing table, from the cupboard. And after that, ask the patient to pick up those objects. When he's able to reach those objects, then the next part is ask the patient to pick up those objects and put them on the specific mark. For this you can use the different blocks, you can use the cups, you can use the glass, or simply you can use a spoon, and you can ask the patient to pick that spoon and put it in the plate. You can ask the patient to pick that jug and pour the water into the glass. So the next thing is about the picking up the object. The first is about the gross movement of the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and the fingers. Then the next thing is how he can hold, how he can approach that thing. If he's able to approach that thing, the next thing is about the how he can pick up the objects and put them on the specific mark. In this diagram, you can see that you can easily add the marking. Ask the patient to stretch the arm and move towards a ring or a loop or a mark. And this one is about for picking up the object and putting them on the specific mark. So you can use the blocks, you can use the rings. So with the patient need to focus how he can hold that object and how he can put that object. So with the help of this activity, he'll be able to perform all the ADLs like eating, writing, how he can use mobile phones, how he can uh, open the drawers, how he can close the drawers. So these exercises will make him independent in the ADLs. When he is able to perform, then go for more specific exercises. The first one is plating. The plating is for the precise movement of the hand. The plating is the first diagram is about the plating. Give him some threads and ask him to plait. In this way, he will be able to perform the precise movement of the hand. After that, he will be able to use the mobile phone. After that, he will be able to use the spoon or the different activities. The second one is building with the toy bricks. He will be able to pick up the objects and he can put them on the specific mark. Drawing on the blackboard, start with the large size alphabets and then going towards the small alphabets, then using and a fork. But in our country, you have to you can add how he can use spoon for eating rice, and how he can break down the roti piece, how he can eat the bread, how he can eat the sandwiches. So work on the spoon and the plate, how he can hold the glass, how he can hold the cup, then how he can doing up the buttons, and how he can doing up the hairs, how he can brush up the teeth. So then go for the specific activities, some functional activities. So these activities make him independent in his daily life. You can also add the opening of the lock and the closing of the doors, and how he can switch on the buttons and how he can switch off the buttons. These are all the parts of the Frenkel exercises. Then move towards the more rhythmic exercises, or you can say that the more difficult patterns or the dynamic patterns. You can you can repeat all these activities with the help of the rhythmic counting, and you can also add the music. So relieve the boredom of the patient. Start with the half lying exercise, and this exercise is specifically for the lower limb, and this exercise will make the patient to transfer from the bed and then going back to the bed again. So this exercise is specifically for the transfer. So ask the patient the first go into the abduction. You can add the mark. You can ask the patient, move your one leg away from the other leg. In this way, the knee will be side of the flank. After that, ask the patient to bend the knee. So then touch the feet on the floor. So then again going back or reverse the procedure. So with this exercise, patient will able to transfer from bed and then again going back to the bed. So he can independently move from the bed and use it. The next one is the sitting. The last sitting was with the help of the parallel support in front of the patient, but this one is the independent sitting to the standing position. Ask the patient to go into the comfortable sitting position, then incline forward to move the center of gravity over the base, and then transfer the weight on the hands, and then extending the elbow. The elbows will be in the flex position, and when the patient will extend the elbows, what will happen? He will transfer the weight on the hand, and in this way he will be able to move from sitting to the standing position along with the hip and knee extension. So with the help of this pattern, he will be able to move from sitting to the standing position with the help of front support. This one is standing, and especially for the addition of swinging movements of the arms, because for the proper balance, swinging movement of the arm is very important. But this cannot be done independently by the patient. For this, the therapist must be in front of the patient, and the therapist, and you can see in this diagram, the therapist and the patient both are holding parallel bars. When the therapist move in front of the patient, and the therapist will move his arm in the forward and the backward direction, what will happen? The patient's arm will automatically move along with the therapist's arm. So with the help of the therapist, the patient will be able to learn how he can swing the arms during the walking. So in this way, he will be more independent in the walking. After that, add some encourage activities. You can add some group therapies, as you know that the group therapies gives better results as compared to the individual therapies. You can add the different recreational activities. You can add the basketball. You can ask the patient go for the swimming or the different kind of the dancing steps, and you can simply ask the patient to catch a ball. Simply throw a ball and catch the ball. What happens in this exercise? The patient will need to focus. He will look at the ball, he will focus on the ball, and then he will hold it. And it is also recreational activity and relieve the boredom. So in this way, he will be able to perform the specific exercises. So this was all about the Frenkel exercises. This is this. Now I will revise some important key points of this lecture. Today's lecture was Frenkel exercises for the ataxic patient. The Frenkel exercises are performed in the sequential manner. The principle of Frenkel exercise is based upon the establishment of the voluntary control with the addition of the concentration of the patient, with the help of the Persian, and with the repetition. So the principle requires three things: establishment of the voluntary control by concentration of attention, with the help of Persian, and the repetition. By these three things, patient will be able to perform all the daily life activities independently. Then there were the different techniques and the protocols. The most important one is the comfortable patient position and the proper clothing, so that patient can visualize all these limb movements. The second one is the command and the proper demonstration, explanation to give a clear mental picture for the patient. The third one is you have to dictate the speed. You have to dictate the range to the patients to make the movements precisely. Add the repetitions, because the repetition will make the patient to perform those patterns in a better way, in a smooth and controlled manner. But don't forget to add some rest period, because these patients are not aware of the fatigues. So you can check the fatigue by the deterioration in the quality of the movement of the patient or by the pulse rate. So always add rest periods in the Frenkel exercises. Otherwise, patient will go into the fatigue and he will not be familiar with that fatigue, and that will reduce his efficiency in the next day. The next one is the progression of Frenkel exercises. Frenkel exercises can be progressed by three different things. The one is by changing in the speed. The quick movements are easier, so start with the quick movements, which are easier. Then move towards the more slow movements by adding the start and the stop commands. The next you can progress is with the help of the range. Start with the wide ranges, as the wide ranges are easier. Then go for some small precise movements, especially movements of the hand or movement of the small joints. And the third, you can move from the simple pattern to the complex pattern by adding the complexity.